Kurdish fighters backed by US airstrikes have launched a major offensive in northern Iraq against Islamic State militants. The Peshmergas are trying to take control of the country's largest dam at Mosul, which has been in IS hands for over a week. International efforts have intensified to stop the Islamists' advance after they took over large areas of Iraq. This officer says these terrorists have seized a lot of sophisticated weapons left by the Iraqi army. They're American weapons. The ones we're using are old.
All right, folks, welcome back. The president moments ago speaking, he's actually still speaking, but addressed the situation in Iraq, and the timing couldn't be better. Jonathan T. Gilliam, president of United States Continued Service, LLC, and former Navy SEAL and special agent for the FBI is here.
Always good.
Great to see you again. All right, so the president basically said that it's important to continue to support the Iraqi government. As far as ISIS, what bothered me was he said that ISIS poses a threat to all Iraqis and to the region. He never mentioned the threat to the West and to, more specifically and more importantly, because he's the president of the United States,
right,
to the United States. And that's one missing element. So your thoughts on that?
Well, that's in stark contrast to what he said, I don't remember how many months ago, when he said that there's a great nuclear threat to New York.
Yeah, that keeps him awake at night.
It keeps him awake at night. Yeah. So, you know, the reality of the way they're fighting this, I like to equate it to the fact that these doctors that got Ebola, and we brought them here instead of taking the medicine over there. Why would you bring Ebola here? You know, it's not here, so why bring it here?
That doesn't make sense
right.
to you?
No, so the same thing here is, before it comes here, why don't we take the fight to them? I was listening to that as well, and he pointed out the fact that the Kurds and some other people had fought bravely because they equipped them or whatever. But you know, here's the fact: it doesn't matter if we're fighting them there, Afghanistan, Iraq, or even the ones that are fighting in Syria. This is a movement that is a global movement, and it's called the Caliphate. And they believe that when they rid the world of over 51% of non-believers, that their caliph will come back. Muhammad was the first caliph. So for anyone to think, especially anyone in a leadership position, to think that this fight won't eventually come here, that they'll be able to throw enough ammunition, enough equipment to the people in those countries to fight it without our support of actually going there and fighting it, that's as dumb as occupying a base and not a country when you go in. Right,
and I agree. And he also said the Iraqi people need to reject ISIS and push them out.
Well,
I mean, you know, duh, if only they could. Their military already deserted, left all the U.S. weapons and ran.
Right. That's like saying we're fighting the war through the hearts and minds of the Iraqis, right? That doesn't work. I hate to tell the American public this. I mean, I'm willing to tell them, and I know they don't want to hear it, but here's how you fight a war. You go in and you decimate an enemy. We've gotten to this point where we do smart bombs, we have smart attacks, we do the opening servo of the Iraq War, where we had the mother of all battles, and then we back off. And that's not how you win a war, that's how you win a battle. But you win a war by occupying a country. And in this case, you know, these people, these what we call fanatics or radicals, they're really fundamentalists.
Militants.
What they are people who can milk in and out of a society, and they do not listen to people who do not drive the point home. They just cast it aside. Just like our laws when it comes to Guantanamo, or our laws when it comes to anything in war, they just cast those aside and they learn how to use them to their advantage, and that's what you're going to see here.
And again, the president said we will continue to protect U.S. personnel and facilities in Erbil and Baghdad, which was the same thing he said on day one. Again, we'll continue to protect our people, our facilities. The ISIS poses a threat to the Iraqi people and to the countries in the surrounding area. You know, not, hey, wherever we see an ISIS convoy, we're going to bomb the crap out of it.
That's the other thing I don't understand. How is it on YouTube all the time that, you know, ISIS or any of these fundamentalist radicals have a funeral ceremony, or
And why
they're
we're not doing
driving
something,
with
yeah.
our equipment, right? We know they're flying the flag. Why aren't we sending a bomb in there and leveling that whole area?
Because it's President Barack Obama, I'm afraid to say. All right, he also talked about how we've given arms to the Kurds and more to the Iraqis. I don't know if these are the kinds of arms that the Kurds specifically really need, and have requested. And he talked about success, for instance, recapturing the Mosul Dam, which, if it's true, and I assume it is good news, because that is a huge danger which could flood, you know, and kill thousands of Iraqis.
But again, it's one thing. If you go in and you take this dam back, or you rescue these people on a mountain, you haven't won the fight. You've rescued people on a mountain and you've rescued a dam. There's other things that are going to fall. There's going to be other battles until you go in and, like the gladiator, unleash hell. Hell is going to continue to be poured upon us and those people over there. We have to go and fight them with the same unconventional tactics. And the only thing that's really in our favor of these ISIS guys getting our weapons and stuff is that if you don't maintain an M4 or M16, it's just going to become a club after a while. So, but that's also the downfall of giving it to the Kurds and all these other individuals. If we don't give them enough to really take care of that equipment, they're going to use it for a period of time, and it's just, they're going to be back in the same ballpark.
And he talked about an international coalition, building one to help in the humanitarian effort. And he said the long-term strategy against ISIS, or as he calls them, ISIL, is by working with the Iraqi government. And he touted the fact that Maliki is gone, and and they're going to have, they hope to have more representation of all parties. And I've said this once, I'll say it a million times, and correct me if I'm wrong. You think ISIS gives a rat's behind who the heck's in the Iraqi parliament? They're going to say, oh, well, we got some representation there. We're going to stop killing Christians and cutting off their heads.
Right. The president's words on all this stuff is about as meaningful as saying that if you take, let's say that we defeated ISIS, right? That doesn't mean that you've still defeated Al-Qaeda, that Afghanistan is going to be any safer, that Syria is going to go away. It doesn't matter if you're fighting the Taliban, if you're fighting the Muslim Brotherhood, or if you're fighting ISIS or ISIL. It's all the same movement. You can cut it however you want, and Al-Qaeda itself is named the base. That's what Al-Qaeda means. It's a logistical base. Al-Qaeda themselves don't attack anybody. It is the logistics that carry out those attacks. And you never saw Osama bin Laden himself going out and carrying out an attack, but he was a logistic manager of the whole thing. Those things are going to come here, and it really comes back to, are we securing our border? Are we just double talking that? Are we double talking this war over there? We go over, we occupy a base and not a country. We come over here, we go down and we turn the border into politics, and that's not secure. It's no different than the war on drugs. The war on drugs has been going on for over 30 years. We went down into Colombia. We got rid of cartels who, believe it or not, actually managed the crime in a lot of these countries, and we got rid of them. So we were trying to do the right thing. We get rid of these power cartels, and what happens? It splinters, and the next thing you know, it's 10 times as bad, and more people are coming across the border. It's the same thing with the war on terror. We're not really fighting it. We're just playing politics and patty cake.
If this is the game plan, ISIS isn't going to be stopped, is it?
No, and absolutely not. And they've had, just this one group has grown up over the past 13 years fighting, hard fighting, and fighting us. Fallujah is a good example of how this could be actually won. We actually did a great job in Fallujah, but it was the last time we actually fought, in my mind. We fought skirmishes, battles, but Fallujah was really the last time we went in and said, we will take this back. That is the only way you're going to be able to defeat them. And until we do that, we're going to push them from here to there like whack-a-mole. And then the next thing you know, we're going to be getting whacked. because they're going to come over here.
Which is what the president said he didn't want to play whack-a-mole. If you recall,
Well,
he used that a couple of three times.
That's what we need to play. Wherever they raise their head in the world,
we gotta put
Team
'em right
America
down.
needs to go after them.
I'm waiting for ISIS or ISIL or whatever the heck they are to send out a representative to CNN with a suit and a tie. I'm sure CNN will welcome them right on because we need their side of the story, like Hamas in Israel. And they'll say, today the U.S. killed 3 kids or 4 kids in a convoy when they bombed our convoy, and I'm waiting for the State Department to condemn themselves.
And I'm waiting for Hillary Clinton to say that ISIL just fights and goes against certain groups because it's such a compact city.
Oh my God! You know what I found out over the weekend? It was confirmed. We had a young lady here from Israel Television. The Gaza Strip, and you probably know this, I'm sure, is not the most congested, condensed, small little sardine can full of people in the world. There are, Manhattan, for instance, per square feet, I think Alan Dershowitz informed me this over the weekend on a radio show he did. Manhattan, and he named other cities, are less condensed and are more condensed and more populated. So another myth. Great to see you, sir.
Always good to be here.
Thank you for coming in. All right, folks, when we come back, it's going to be the one, the only. You need it, you love it, you must have it. You think, introduction, stalling, whatever I'm doing. No, it's going to be Gimme 5, and you're not going to want to miss this one coming up next, right here on the Steve Malzberg Show, only on Newsmax Television. Don't go away.